Hello there, my name is Anthony Barukas from Stream For Us, and today I have an exclusive for streaming media producer. We are going to be doing a live switch introduction to the Birddog FLEX 4K NDI converters. So, a bit up front, disclosure, Birddog sent these to us for review. This is an early look so that we can have this out for you when these are announced later this week. Let's do an unboxing. Let's get right to it, right here on number 2. Let's take my title off. This is the box you're going to get. Birddog is proud to tell everyone that these boxes are now completely recyclable and soy inks. And so if that's important to you, hey, buy some Birddog products. Right here on the side of the box, you can see as I unveil it, there's your instructions on how to get started. You know, it saves on the manual, but you still get some stickers, seem to be all the thing, and then a catalog for all the different products that they have, which you can also find on the website. So there you go. Now, this is the unit. This is it. I mean, it's really teeny, and it's very light because it's plastic. There's 2 little fans in it, ports all the way around. What else is in the box? You have, oops, kind of messed up since I was moving the box around. You have a power adapter and plugs for various versions around the world. So there's only one SKU for using this thing anywhere in the world. It all comes ready to go. Now, let me open this up. I'll leave it like that. We're going to cover that in a second. So let us zoom in right here. Let's do a little walk around. Right here, you got the Birddog logo. Those are not really heat fins because this is plastic. Birddog talks a lot about the fact that they've really managed the thermals on this. I have had one running for 3 days. I can put my hand on it. It is not hot. It's barely lukewarm, actually. So a couple small fans on one side, in air vent on the other side, keeps it nice and cool. You'll see these screw holes on either side of the Flex In, and that is for this mount, which screws in right there. If you get it, I think they say this is going to be about 20 bucks for this mount. So you can and it comes with a 1/4-20 thread on the bottom, so you can put this on a magic arm or wherever. Me personally, I put a little, Amazon $5, cold shoe mount on there, so I can put it on top of the camera and it'll just sit there like that. The cool thing with that is this top ring all the way around, this is your tally. This is what's going to light up. Let's see what direction I'm moving in. This is what's going to light up, and it's viewable to everybody. So having it sit on top like that, in the shoe so that everybody can see it, works out really well. On this panel, you have your Ethernet in, which is also PoE plus. So that's power. If you don't have power over Ethernet, you've got a DC input. You also have a DC output, which I think they say will do 15 watts from your power over Ethernet in, and HDMI in. These are inputs only. None of these units have a loop through. So that's very important. That's why this is called the Flex In. The Flex Backpack, which we'll get to in a moment, and in which it's actually the one I really like. That one also has only an input. There's also a Flex Out, this is only an output, and it does not have a DC out. That one's going to be available, late July, August. All of them are the same price. All of them are $399. So for that, you get everything we're talking about here per unit, $399 per unit. So let's go back to the walk around. Here we go. 2 little fans, screw holes on this side. You've got your RS-232, which is an 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter output. And they say they will have cables available so that you can use this input with various pan tilt zoom cameras. Now, I have a pan tilt zoom camera here, and this one is HX. So this one is just sitting here. But if you were to have another pan tilt zoom camera that doesn't have NDI, boom, full NDI for $399. Or you may actually have a pan tilt zoom camera that has NDI available as an optional purchase. Let's take a look at that. That's on 4. So right here you can see Panasonic cameras, it's $299 to purchase NDI HX. For PTZ optics, it's $599 to purchase NDI HX. So you could purchase the lightweight version of NDI for $600, or you could purchase full NDI for $400. Continuing on, Sony cameras is $299. Lumens cameras, Marshall cameras, $299, $299. So most of them are $300. This is $400. This is full NDI. Big difference between full NDI 4K and NDI HX. So this is lower latency and much higher bandwidth. But you need to make sure your network is ready. If you've got 5 pan-tilt zoom cameras on a gigabit Ethernet and you want to do 4K from all of them, you can't do 5 4K feeds on a gigabit network. So be sure you are counting your bits when you are making your purchase. Or you could just set all your cameras to HD and make them 100 megabits each. Done. I'll show you how to do that when we go through the menu system. So continuing on, you've got your RS-232 port here, and then your headphone jack, which honestly, you wouldn't need the headphone jack if you were going to put this by a pan-tilt zoom camera high up on the wall. That doesn't make sense. But if you're putting it on top of a camera, then that headphone jack with Birddog gear is comms. You've now actually run comms to your camera. You plug in a Birddog headset here, and you've got microphone, headphones, and you're able to communicate through Birddog comms. When you buy any Birddog device, it comes with Comms Lite and NDI Central Lite. So they include that with most things. And then, of course, those software, pro versions of the software are available for an optional purchase. One other thing to mention is that Birddog says they're going to be making Dante available on these little devices as well. That's also going to be an additional purchase. I think it's $69. And that way you can use the audio in and audio out to put Dante on the NDI network and take Dante off the NDI network through their little converter boxes. So that would be per unit, I think it is. Now, let's look at the instructions on the box. Let me get it set up here. Can't get my left and right situated. You can see right here, quick start. Plug it into DC power, PoE, watch for the lights to come up, open a web browser, go to this address, Birddog-12345 local. And what they're looking for here is the serial number on the device is actually the name of the device. So Birddog dash, the last 5 digits of the serial number, .local. If you also have Fing, F-I-N-G, is an app available for Android and iOS. That is a great way to catalog everything on the network and then get the actual IP addresses as well. At that point, it's a natural segue to look at accessing the devices. So let's look at when you, which is 4. This is what you get when you actually log into your device. This is the 4K Flex in. You can see that I'm up here with the password. The password, the default password is Birddog, B-I-R-D-D-O-G. And then you hit OK. Don't save. Now, Birddog name, Birddog-749E1. Just like I says, the name of the device is the serial number of the device. Right now, I'm issuing everything via DHCP. Now, I would actually recommend, learn a bit about networking if you don't already. Right now, I just have DHCP just because my network is very simple and I'm working in a home studio. But if I was going to various places and I was deploying, bring your own router, bring your own cabling, bring your own network, bring your own Wi-Fi. Never rely on what's there. That's rule 1. If you read my article in Streaming Media Producer called 7 Rules for Mobile Multicam Success. Rule 1, bring your own Wi-Fi or your own router, essentially. And that's especially important because I'm using the Scarhoy controller to switch this show and run the pan-tilt zoom camera. And this thing works on, it talks directly to IP addresses. So If I power everything down, go to another location, power everything up, it's still going to try to address this pan-tilt zoom camera at the specific address that's programmed into the software. So dynamic doesn't always work for things that might be assigned a different address. Then this thing goes to talk to it and it's not there anymore, it moved. So having your specific NDI devices on fixed IP addresses, I think is very important, because that way devices like the Skarhoi are only going to look for them where they were last time. Also very good for a TriCast or a video switcher. It says, I know where camera 1 was, I know where camera 2 was, I know where camera 3 was, and they're going to be in the same places every time. That's really handy. I say that, and at the same time, as you look at the thing, I have everything set up to DHCP. So NDI connection info, you can see that this is coming in at 1080i 59. Status is active. There's a serial number, Birddog FLEX 1.4. That's the firmware. The network information, you can see it's DHCP. This is where you would set it to a manual IP and even change the Birddog name down here and then click apply. If you have a pan-tilt zoom camera, this is where you could set presets. This is where you would adjust the VSAT settings to communicate with the pan-tilt zoom camera. I don't have one, so that whole page doesn't apply to me. System, this is where you could change the password. You know, once you get them on a network, you want to make sure that you kind of lock things down a little bit more than using the default password for anything. If you have an update, you download the file, choose the file here, click update, and then you've got other network and discovery settings down here, which I choose not to mess with because I'm like a 20-year broadcast video guy now moving into the networking world, and I'm not so good at networking as I am at video. Continuing on the AV setup over here, we're going to click on that. Video mode, 4K or HD. I have it set to HD. Different color space settings, audio in gain, because it will take in audio in via the external jack or over HDMI, and audio out gain, which goes to the headset. Your NDI video bandwidth is variable. Now, right now I have it at a low of 60, and HD will go from 60 to about 150, and if you're in 4K, the max is, I think, 360 megabits a second, and you can bring it down a little bit from there. So be aware, if you have a gigabit network where you plan on deploying these, you are really only going to get, I'm going to say, a max of 3 4K sources on a gigabit network, and it's really going to start to impinge on other traffic on the network. So again, you're going to want a dedicated network for video, and if you plan on more than 3 4K sources, you're going to need a 10 gig network. Each of these devices are gigabit, but you're going to need a 10 gig switch to be able to handle 5, 6, 7 4K sources, if that's where you're going. So just be aware of managing your bits on a gigabit network. Now I'm in HD. I'm only doing HD here, so I have this one set to 60, and that means that I can put 10 of them on the network and still have space to spare. Let's go back to here. Let's come down here. NDI audio, mute or unmute. Onboard tally is on. When they shipped, it said off. I've already changed this one to on, which is why it's so easy to show. And then when you apply your changes, you click apply, and they're automatically applied. You don't have to like reboot the device. And then, of course, logging out. That's a quick look at the menu system. But again, like I said, this is the 4K Flex in. This is really cool. It's really small. Let me show you my phone. My phone literally hides the unit. I mean, it's tiny. It fits in my hand. That's how tiny it is. And it's light because it's got a plastic enclosure and the thermals are managed, so you don't need a big, heavy metal enclosure that's trying to pull heat off the processor. That's really cool. But what I've got over here is even better. I think it's better. You can see that this camera is on. You can see that the monitor is powered and it's tracking what I'm doing here. I have a battery in the camera, HDMI out, goes into the monitor, and then I have a blue cable over here. This is Ethernet, power over Ethernet. And the device that you can't even see is the Birddog 4K Flex backpack. Now they call it a backpack because it fits on the back of a monitor. I am just using a big 7-inch monitor with this nice lens hood, but you could easily use an Atomos recorder. This will power an Atomos recorder, and The really nice thing with that is you can take 4K from your DSLR into the Atomos, record ProRes, 10-bit, have a really high quality signal here, then apply the gamut to the output. The output comes in, goes to the 4K Flex backpack, and then that signal is sent down the line to your video switcher. Or you could even output just HD, but still be capturing 4K on a fantastic monitor recorder like the Atomos. That is a great way to really get the best of both worlds. You're getting a fantastic, pristine recording of the signal before it even goes anywhere. No compression for network at all. And then you're getting the best, lowest latency, highest quality NDI signal down the line. And this will power this on top of your camera. That is, I think, crazy sauce. And it's also, like I said, it's $399, so it's $400. But you can see right here, this one is green. If I move it around, you can see this is green because this I have set in the preview bus of the TriCaster. So this one is being told it is next up. It's not really next up, this one's next up. And this is taking the video in from the monitor because, again, these are not pass-through devices. I have to pass through the monitor. So my monitor has pass-through HDMI into the Flex, and then the only other cable here is this blue Ethernet cable for power over Ethernet and comms and Tally and RS-232 and eventually Dante, and it just goes on and on. So that is where I see, you don't even really see it, but it's also Tally for the people who are in front of the camera. This is what you would see if you were a talent, and then you can see this color, and when it goes red, you can see it. I want to show you how these things come together. I'm going to hook this one up and I'm going to feed it a signal. So let's do that right now. Let's move. Well, I'm going to hook this one up, the Flex in. So let us come down here. Where am I? I'm going to go to invert 2. You can see I've got this thing here. It's not on. But I have already plugged it in. I have already, set up the input into my switcher. So now we are just testing time. So I'm going to take Ethernet. I'm going to plug this in here. And you will see it's going to start negotiating. It's going to start communicating. And things are going to start lighting up. I should have started the stopwatch, but you can see it's now starting to boot up. I'm going to feed it a signal. I'm going to feed it a signal from this camera, the HDMI out from my pan-tilt zoom camera. So there we go. That is in. And then I will tell you when it's available by switching to it. That's going to be on input 5. And when I do, see, this is green while it's powering up. And it'll probably go black because there it goes. It's blinking. There. Now it's off. Now, what I can do is I can switch to it. And when I switch to it, it's going to go red. You're actually looking at the video signal from this device because when it's red, it's in program. I was able to switch to this video source coming in, heading back out, going through my TriCaster that quickly. And that, I think, is a fantastic demonstration of the simplicity of using NDI. If you read my article, all in on NDI, I just being able to do this, plug things in and have them appear and just go. Plus, cabling is a lot easier than trying to run long HDMI cables. Anybody who's tried to run long HDMI cables knows. Plus, if you have 3 cameras at the stage and 2 cameras over there, you only have to run one Ethernet cable to the stage and 1 Ethernet cable over there, and then you put a little switch at each place. And it breaks out, and it breaks out. Oh, did you also need to feed a monitor at the stage? Okay, then you use the Flex out, and you just plug it into the switch that's already on stage for the camera that's up there. And then you send it whichever source you want using NDI Central. So, that's a pretty quick look at the Flex line of 4K converters from Birddog. I'm happy they were able to get me a couple of these in time for us to have this review available while you're able to, during the announcement, so you're able to check this out as soon as you hear about it. If I could throw my 2 cents in, because I'm just a reviewer, I'm not working for Birddog. I love these little things. They're fantastically small. They're really well priced. But What I would love to see is, it's nice to have it on the back of the camera up there on the monitor, but me personally, if I'm just going more simple and I have a smaller camcorder and I'm using just the little viewfinder, what I would love to do is I would love to put the Flex right here on the back of the camera. So then the camera operator has this big tally right in their face. That would be really cool. But the downside is that, like on the Sony camera and most camcorders these days, the battery compartment is so deep that, I mean, this one, if I put it right here, it's literally sitting on the back of this battery. It's huge. The battery that Sony provides, the 970, is shorter than this battery. You can see right here. Not really. You can see right here that this battery is a little taller, but that's because it's got USB in it. And you put this thing on top, that is a really, I mean, it's actually bigger than the Flex. It's taller than the Flex is wide. And what I would like to see is the backpack has an NPF. This whole panel right here, this whole is different. It's not screwed on, it's the whole panel. It's integrated. I would love to see an extender so that I could take the Flex or the backpack, clip it onto my extender, and then clip that into my camera, and then I'd be good to go. Plus, what that would do for them is that would allow them to make, you know, they're passive, power in to power out. There's no electronics in it, but just plastic molding to go from Sony to Sony, to go from NPF, which is Sony, to JVC, to Panasonic, to Canon, and provide the power that the camcorder needs to see at the depth that it needs to be for that line of camcorders. I think that would be a wonderful addition. I have 3 of these already. I'd go get them tomorrow, and I'd be powering all 3 cameras over NDI from the Birddog FLEX. Well, I've talked enough, I think. My name is Anthony Barocas with Streaming Media Producer with a early look at the Birddog NDI 4K Flex series of converters. Very excited about these. I think these are going to go like hotcakes, and I'm just very impressed all the way around with the quality and the build that they've put into these units. Thanks for watching.